Almost there. Just a little farther north and we'll be at the shrine.
The landscape's gotten rockier.
We're near Brodia. It's all mountains up there.
I'm seeing fewer villages as well. Makes this a good place to hide an emblem ring, I suppose.
Yeah. The closer you are to the Brodian border, the colder and quieter it gets. Look. Not a soul in sight.
You're right. There's no one around. Except her.
Oh.
Take a little look around. Wait for it.
I wonder what she's doing here.
She's crying.
Oh, well, doesn't that break the heart? I'd better help. I am her prince, after all. I won't stand by when my people are suffering.
Alfred, wait!
Oh, what a scrape I'm in.
Hey there.
Huh?
What's the matter? Something I can help with?
I knew we'd startle you. Sorry for popping up out of nowhere and...
Zappy! You came just in time. I'm saved. I lost something earlier and there was nobody around to help, so I got real stressed out. Oh, right. I skipped over the niceties. You can call me Yunaka. Hiya, papaya.
Hiya, papaya?
Huh. I've never heard that one before. Anyway, what did you lose, Yunaka?
It's a little round ring. Kind of shiny with a hole in the middle. Oh, and it talks for some reason.
Come again?
Yeah, I figured you wouldn't believe me.
I believe you. It might be an emblem ring.
Please, go on. What did it say?
Well, if I remember right, it asked me to take it to the Divine Dragon.
To me?
Is that... did you... are you saying you're the Divine Dragon?
Yes, I am. I'm sorry I didn't mention it sooner. I'm the Divine Dragon.
And now that we're doing introductions, I'm Alfred, the Prince of Firene.
Holy broccoli! Why didn't you lead with that? I think I just had a heart attack. Nope, false alarm. Phew.
I'm so sorry. I never meant to impact your health.
Yunaka, how did you find the ring?
I was walking along the border, minding my own business, when I heard a woman's voice. Help me. I'm right here. I'm by your foot.
Huh. You're quite the performer.
Anyway, I picked up the ring and she said, take me to the Divine Dragon. But at that point, I had no idea where the Divine Dragon was, so I told her I couldn't help. She knew the way, though. Told me to start heading for the capital of Firene.
Oh, that's good advice. The quickest way to get to Lethos is through the capital.
But on the way, I was attacked by bandits and ran off full speed. And now the ring's gone. I must have dropped it somewhere. Woe is me. Sniffle, sniffle. But now that you're here, you're gonna help me find it, right? Right?
After hearing her story, this definitely sounds like an emblem ring. Probably the ring of the Dawn Maiden. But that means someone took it from the shrine.
Or it could be another emblem ring. We'll just have to find it and see for ourselves.
All right, Yunaka. We'll help you.
Golly, that's great news. She'll be so happy if you're the one who finds her.
Let's start by retracing your steps. No sign of the ring so far.
Maybe somebody got to it before we did.
Yeah, everyone's combing the area. If it was lying around, we would have found it by now.
You're sure you didn't lose it before the bandits attacked?
I had it on me when I passed through that ghost town over there. Huh?
What is it?
It looks like the town's overrun with bandits.
What? How can you tell?
I'll bet these are the same chumps who ambushed me earlier.
Let's take a closer look.
They've taken over the town.
These are the bandits I ran into earlier. No doubt about it. And that means one of them's got... Aha! Right there.
You see it?
Yeah, a burly guy with something glinting in his hand. That's gotta be our missing ring.
What do you think, Divine One? Is it an emblem ring?
He's too far. I really can't say. You must have great eyesight, Yunaka.
Yeah, I have a killer's eyes.
What was that?
Killer eyes! I've got killer eyes! You know, they're great at seeing stuff. If you ever need something looked at real good, I'm your gal! Anyway, what's the plan now? We've got 2 problems that need solving.
A stolen ring and a town full of bandits.
The ring's our first priority, but we can't leave them unchecked.
We'll only attract attention if we all charge in at once. I say we split up. You know, send in a small group to recover the ring. Nice and stealthy.
All right.
Okay then. Come on, Divine One. You're with me.
Let's start with roster updates. I'm doing a full guide to the Somniel next video, so this won't cover everything. Last map we got the Seraph Robe, a permanent HP plus 5. I'll discuss how to think about these when I start using them after Chapter 8. Until then, I want to keep things fully generic, because stat boosters are a great way to give favoritism to the units you like, and I think you miss out by using them the optimal way each run. I'm keeping it in my convoy. In the Somniel, we got access to the smithy and arena. The smithy lets us engrave and refine weapons to improve them, as well as forge entirely new weapons. This gives you a flexible way of adapting to your own needs and luck if your team's different than mine. We forged a Levin sword and engraved weapons for reliability. The arena does many things, but most importantly for now, emblem training lets us buy up bond ranks. No longer will we just stick the same emblems on the same units automatically every map. We can also inherit skills. I've given Vander hit plus 10 to reduce my blood pressure. He'll never get enough SP to unlock anything better. The only shuffling we'll do for now is assigning Sigurd to Chloe. Chloe can use Sigurd's movement unencumbered by terrain, and as I've said, giving Chloe more of a spotlight is about as good of a bet as they come. I'll link in the description to Zoran's early Engage run, which pairs Chloe with Marth here. That can really slingshot Chloe into a dominant force, and it has its own advantages, but for what I'm doing it's a little expensive and a little too cute. Getting Chloe to bond rank 10 with Marth before this map is hard, and at this point, if you're using Marth without Mercurius, you're leaving a lot on the table. The designers pretty clearly wanted you to go ham with Marth and Alir on this map, and that's what we'll do. Why do I say that? Well, last map encouraged splitting your army without necessitating it. Chapter 6 forces a specific split. Alir and our new recruit Yunaka must fight to the north, and the rest of our forces start in the south. In case that wasn't enough excitement, this map introduces Fog of War. You can only see enemies within a certain distance of your units or a torch. Let's call Fog of War polarizing. The map gives you many tools to manage the fog, but I know I missed some of them starting out, and it's still easy to lose a unit to an enemy you couldn't see. That Time Crystal may start coming in handy. Fighting split up in the dark doesn't sound like a great way to decompress from the rigors of Chapter 5. Don't despair. In fact, rejoice. The introductory sequence through Chapter 5 tested our tactics by essentially locking us into a single roster. That starts to change here, and we're getting powerful strategic tools that can give our squad a major glow up. Last map had no new characters or emblems. Here, we have the fan favorite character and the best emblem in the game joining. With them, Mercurius, and the smithy, it'll be a breeze. Alir has an entire section of the map basically set aside for her, a single file corridor that negates the enemy's numerical advantage. With her newly unlocked Mercurius doubling experience gain and lots of foes, she can do several maps worth of training right here. Every other emblem, including the new one Yunaka's about to get, can help link up your disparate forces if you wish. The map does not actually play out as 2 separate encounters. We'll use that new emblem to have Yunaka get several maps worth of training supporting our squad, and we'll have Chloe fly up to provide assistance using Sigurd as necessary. Only flyers can cross the low walls that create gaps between the north and south, so Chloe reinforces Team Alir better than Alfred could. Before we do that, we need to clean up the units between our forces at the start, and we'll do that with Sigurd and Celica so no one gets stuck behind the front lines. At the end, we'll meet in the middle where the boss comes out and deal with him. I'll quickly show a recap of all that for reference.
pitch black out here. How can we fight them if we can't even see them?
Don't worry, Divine One. That's what I'm here for. My eyesight's so sharp, I can spot baddies even when it's dark or foggy. Till you get your hands on a torch at least. Then you'll see as well as I can. There he is. Let's take him by surprise.
Good idea.
Please, take me to the Divine Dragon.
This looks pretty pricey. This'll net me a nice lump of gold. The boss doesn't need to know about it.
Oh dear. You can't even hear me, can you?
I hear her. That's the voice from before.
That's definitely an emblem ring. Yunaka, will you help me get it back?
Of course, you weirdo. That's why we're here.
Right. Well, thank you. You know, now that I hear her, your impression was incredibly accurate.
Stop. You're gonna make me blush.
Let's get our emblem, shall we? Alear can only miss here if she bails herself out with a crit. All in all, it's a 93.4% chance, and I'd honestly just reset if you miss. It's the first thing you do, and it's absolutely critical. Alas, we still need +2 strength from strength draining for Alear to even hope for this kill. We can't skip it or put it towards Dex, which would be lovely. Remember, Alear starts 90 XP through level 6, that's 590 gained XP, and with 828 SP. That's what she's accomplished through 6 chapters, some of which had basically no one else to take kills. It's the moment I've been waiting for!
I am Emblem Micaiah. I sense the future shifting. Now victory lies ahead.
Ah, so it is the ring of the Dawn Maiden. Yunaka, I entrust this ring to you.
Me? But I...
She belongs with you. All I ask is that in return, you help us defeat these bandits. Will you join with Emblem Micaiah?
Yeah, okay. I won't let you down.
Now that we've put a ring on her, let's talk about Yunaka. Oh, and the best emblem in the game too.
Show you how to use staves.
Quick change!
With my magic, you may illuminate even the darkest of places.
Yunaka is your first thief. She's stolen a lot of hearts in the fanbase, so I'll try and keep things positive. Thieves wield daggers, physical weapons that poison opponents after each round of combat and usually have 1-2 range. In Engage, poison adds true damage to each incoming attack, 1, then 3, then 5 as you stack. Thieves, like archers, are covert style. Unlike archers, thieves actually care about the covert bonus, doubled effects from terrain. Yunaka's personal ability does a great job of introducing this to the player, giving you +15 crit when you're boosting a void through terrain. These analyses are mostly about maddening, but I'd be remiss not to laud Yunaka's performance on normal and hard mode. Emblem Corrin's covert effect is spawning smoke that gives +30 avoid. For Yunaka, that's +60 avoid and +15 crit. Combined with a fantastic speed stat and the right engraving, you get a unit that is functionally invincible to anyone except opposing emblem users, chain attacks, and mages. You can go wherever you want on a map, spawning smoke to hide in, and enemies won't be able to get double-digit hit rates. Yunaka's natural resistance and physical 1-2 range weaponry means she's quite good against enemy mystical mages, who ignore the avoid boost. In maddening, units won't attack if they don't see at least 1 expected damage. That really throws a spanner in the works. You could carefully manage avoid so she'll have just enough to get targeted, but more crucially, Yunaka struggles to do meaningful damage on maddening. She's still good, don't get me wrong, but she's not easy to make into a generalist unit that can kill everything on enemy phase. Doubling and critting are multipliers on your damage. If Yunaka lacks raw power, her speed and dex aren't helping. 6 times 0 is, well, 0. That's a common problem. Chloe doesn't fare much better with a javelin, but Yunaka's physical enemy phase combat is her whole thing. Chloe has a lot of other options, including the Levin sword. Yunaka doesn't have a magical dagger. Trying to replicate non-maddening Yunaka on maddening can be disappointing. Instead, I'd recommend focusing on Yunaka's great bases and daggers to kickstart her, and then transition into a role that doesn't need to deal damage. She joins with Micaiah, which can end up being hundreds of extra SP and XP over her listed bases by the end of this map. Even if you take Micaiah off her afterwards, you'll have a unit who's more competent on enemy phase than most of your squad, and she'll be a lot better than most of your units for a while just from those bases. That's not all. Yunaka's cannon as a connoisseur of weaponry has surprising gameplay relevance. Yunaka's place in the metagame relies on part on the smithy. Dagger forges give +2 might per forge, much better than other weapons. If you're planning to use any dagger wielders in the future, it can make sense to start forging now. Yunaka can enter Chapter 10 with Canter, +4 or +6 damage per hit from forging, and an experience lead over many other units, even if you're not trying to play favorites. If you don't want to pair her with Korin later for that utility, she can totally hand off her daggers to Zelkov with her head held high, having contributed a lot to the run. That's not to say Korin's a bad pick with her. Being able to freeze a foe, inflict -4 to their stats, and additionally add a stack of poison is great utility. Evading every attack isn't a one-woman army on maddening, but it's hardly useless. You can deploy her much like we're using Louis, keeping enemies occupied without needing support. She doesn't have great reclassing options, because Thief doesn't promote at level 10. You need to wait all the way until level 21 to second seal into a promoted class, and that isn't worth it if you don't at least like her in Thief. She's not even a bad mage knight, but when you literally have to wait longer than anyone else to get there, it's hard to recommend except as a novelty. You have to wait until after Chapter 8 to second seal into a base class, which is similarly tough to recommend and makes starting with Micaiah awkward. Her stats also lose a little luster in a different class. Thief has the bases of an advanced class, so Yunaka won't get the big promotion bonus other units do. On normal and hard, Yunaka is straight up busted. On maddening, she's still effective, but only if you manage her expectations. In the same way that she's set up to be a fan favorite off the field, with great voice acting and a zappy introduction. The game sets her up for success on the field. As a utility unit who can apply status, choke a point here or there, kill a mage, and use a dagger forge until you pass it off to another dagger user, she'll do great. If you agree with me that Hiya Papaya is peak dialogue and you want to make Yunaka a star, she can be, but don't expect her to be one-rounding enemy paladins anytime soon. Drumroll please. Our first emblem, Marth, plays by the rules. He's basically a big stat buff and a cool double XP sword. Sigurd and Celica bend the rules through their movement tech, but they're still confined by the limited offense and durability of your units. Micaiah is different. She breaks the game. Micaiah's Engage skill, Augment, gives staff range +5 and area of effect +1. Our humble men's staff goes from healing a single unit beside you to healing 5 units in a cross formation from up to 5 squares away. Our men's staff is now better than any healing staff in most games. When you start with a staff that is already amazing, like Warp, you get the best staves in Fire Emblem history. This is already busted, but wait, there's more. You might wonder if Augment works as a single use for durability and experience purposes. The answer is that it's the best of both worlds. If you use Mend on 5 units, you get XP and SP as if you spent 5 turns healing each unit individually, but your Mend staff only uses 1 use. If 5 units isn't enough for you, her Engage attack, Great Sacrifice, heals every damage allied unit, giving you experience credit as if you used a heal staff on each one. The 100 XP cap on what a single action can give you, meaningless for any normal combat, is actually a problem for Micaiah. That's a good problem to have. You don't even need staff rank, because her sync skill Cleric lets you equip level C staves, scaling up to A throughout the game. Yunaka, our thief, will become the best healer in the series for this map. Remember, this is all in the early game, using staves so bad you can buy them in the earliest shops. If you want to beat the game as easily as possible, the solution to every map in the late game is to use a warp, rewarp, or rescue with 5 units and 10 range to teleport an entire squad to the boss. On some of the brutal late game maps, even if you aren't trying to get low turn counts, you'll often find that it's the easiest way to avoid getting swarmed by endless reinforcements. Augment's great with every staff, of course. A 5-tile obstruct can help isolate enemy groups, and plenty of enemy formations can be crushed with a 5-tile status staff. Micaiah can solve almost any problem you face in Engage. Micaiah's inheritable skills, stats, and weapons are fine. Great Sacrifice brings the user to 1 HP and can't be used again until you gain some HP back, so Healing Light helps you plan around that. Nosferatu would be absurd as a tome you could equip permanently and use for tanking, but for 3 turns at a time on an emblem that can break the game without combat, it's not as good as it sounds. It says a lot that a tome that can easily make a unit more or less invincible while engaged is barely worth mentioning on Micaiah. Micaiah lets an underleveled unit heal your other allies multiple times per turn, and gain experience that doesn't depend on enemy strength. You can use Mend on 3 or 4 units, repeat, use Great Sacrifice, recharge on an energy tile, and then do that all again, doing dozens of heals in 7 turns. On some maps, literally feeding the Micaiah user every single kill would do less. Micaiah doesn't require any combat. Your other units can get all of that XP for themselves, charging in with reckless abandon and relying on Great Sacrifice to save them. Micaiah dominates the early game by letting you train up whoever you want with minimal planning, and freeing up the rest of your army to do combat all over the place. She then dominates the late game by being a vital safety valve to trivialize almost any map. One of the overarching goals for this playthrough is to avoid fully breaking the game with Micaiah. I'll be showcasing that experience factory, because it will let me train up far more units than I ought to have the room for, but I'll avoid using Micaiah to snowball any single unit into an unstoppable juggernaut. I'm also committing to, with one early exception, playing every map straight up, without major skips. Even when I'm intentionally mismanaging her talents, Micaiah will still be one of the best emblems. On either side of this playthrough, if you're playing more casually and Chapter 25 wouldn't be fun without Warp, or if you're instead trying to beat it in one turn with an optimized setup, Micaiah is the best emblem in the game, and it's not close. Remember, you should always engage first before menuing. We can grab the Illume Staff that we bought from the item shop. Let there be light. A 7-space radius illuminates at most 113 squares, but with Micaiah, we illuminate at most 313 squares. That's pretty good. Louis can light the torch to illuminate nearly every enemy.
Let me at him.
Etienne moves less than full to evade one of the few we can't see. Alfred and Chloe team up for this kill. We're now playing on Micaiah rules. We hope Chloe gets hit here.
Say the word.
I find it funny you get a hammer without any armors to use it on here. Saline makes sure the archer moves to attack us and starts her engage clock.
My will is firm. Please grant me your strength.
Fram and Boucheron claim some space and make sure the sword fighter behaves predictably.
Okay.
Vander chips the Thunder Mage hiding here. That Thunder Mage will attack Alfred here because the AI likes to chain attack you.
You cold?
Looks like we got us some uninvited guests. Snuff the lights, you lot.
You got it!
This archer is the one enemy I really dislike on this map. He's not visible at the start and can easily snipe Chloe if you play normally. Boucheron and Fram both get damaged in a controllable way here. I can't control Boucheron getting this kill, and he wasn't planning to take this torch. I debate what to drop. See what I meant in my Yunaka analysis? Doubles and crits only matter if your base damage is reasonable.
Looks like our cover's blown. They're snuffing the torches. Don't sweat it. We can relight them as we go.
Louis and Etier can kill the archer with a longbow, assuming he moved his full movement like we ensured by having Louis at the edge of his range. We want Etier to take the bow, so we order things to have her finish the job.
Pretty weak.
Boucheron, come on, man. Normally I won't bore you with every turn wheel, but I'll show this one because it's a clean way to demonstrate how you fix bad luck on player phase. Rewinding doesn't change the dice rolls themselves. You can't just rewind and try Boucheron again. Any move with an accuracy of 81 or less would also fail. We have two reliable moves from Louis and Etier that we can substitute. It's basically gerrymandering but for anime chess. We can't change the raw numbers, but we can change the outcomes from those numbers.
That was a good session.
Clan normally can get damage from the sword fighter Boucheron crit. I know it's bad form to complain about ostensibly getting lucky, but that is a little bit of Yunaka XP down the drain. The poison stack is a little annoying here, and if Vander had just hit, we wouldn't have had to take it. The second poison adds 2 true damage, not just 1, so it's as if Vander has defense and resistance -3. This is our first obstruct use, and it's a fun one. It basically makes Alear 1 turn faster at moving through the corridor, because otherwise she'd be blocked by the axe fighter. I tested out so many strategies to speed Alear up, but once I found this obstruct, everything clicked into place. Get it at an item shop near you. Alfred normally needs to deal with the sword fighter Boucheron crit.
Don't fear for me.
Chloe can only kill one of the remaining foes, but Saline can take either.
Let's be
The right
careful.
play is clear from that.
I want to help you.
And they lived happily ever after.
Is it my turn?
We give Alear a chance to take damage or level HP. She can clean up on enemy phase, although our odds are less than ideal.
Yunaka here.
Yunaka now uses Great Sacrifice to heal everyone to full. She gets 72 XP and 76 SP in 1 turn. That's amazing for anyone besides Micaiah, and pretty alright for her. Let me take a second to talk about XP from non-combat actions. I'm linking a spreadsheet which shows XP gain for any action. Here's how the sausage is made. The base XP of heal is 25. There are two modifiers to this base value, one based on the unit level, and one based on the level difference between the target and user. On Maddename, a level 6 unit using heal gets a minus 14 level penalty to that base experience, resulting in 11 XP per heal. We have 7 damaged units, so that's 77 XP before the relative levels of Yunaka and our targets are accounted for. Fram is level 3 and Boucheron is level 5. You get minus 4 XP for a level difference of 3, and minus 1 for a difference of 1 for 72 XP in all. It doesn't happen here, but after all of this, any modifiers like Mercurius are applied and then the whole thing is capped at 100 XP gain. Okay, so what's the message here? Why the math? There's a few important things to learn if you want to maximize your experience gain. Most importantly, because it's a very common misconception. For our level 6 Yunaka, healing a level 6 or level 600 unit grants the same experience. The diminishing returns when turbo leveling with Micaiah come mostly from the level penalty, which isn't about the relative levels of your party. The level difference penalty is designed to prevent you from getting any units far above the rest of your army. It doesn't help you slingshot units that are far behind. In the early game, quantity matters over quality. The number of units you heal matters way more than the differences or the staff. Heal is 5 XP less than Mend. That matters, sure, but going from 11 XP to 16 XP is not a huge deal. Great Sacrifice will tend to out XP Mend uses early on. Later, as the penalties get larger, that difference matters more proportionally. At level 20, Mend has 10 XP and Heal has 5. That means Mend is literally twice as effective, even more if you're healing anyone below your own level. Great Sacrifice will not scale into the endgame, but augmented high-end staves will. Lastly, there's no need to go crazy optimizing Micaiah if you don't want to. I will show at least one map where I pull out all the stops and go for perfect XP efficiency, but even in a run like this, I'm not bothering to do that for every map. Resetting on every enemy mess gets old quickly, and it rarely matters in the grand scheme of things. I'm not hyper-optimizing because I have to for any actual gameplay reasons, and in fact I'll basically gain nothing from my exertions. It's being routed in to make a point and show Micaiah's ceiling, not because it's a good use of my time. If you can get a few targets per Mend use and several targets per Great Sacrifice, you'll be rocketing up the level curve. Your exact definitions of few and several won't matter too much.
This is it! I live to fight again.
Good job getting hurt, Louis. Normally the thief isn't alive at this point, and I totally forgot Ate was in range. That's not going to be a survivable mistake for much longer. I collect myself after the shock. Lodestar Rush takes out the Axe Fighter. Finally, no percent chances.
My prayers are with you. Cannot afford to lose.
You can't use Great Sacrifice at 1 HP. If you can, it's nice to order it like I did here. You use Great Sacrifice on the second turn of being engaged, and then self-heal with Mend to avoid the use of a vulnerary. You can't target yourself with a staff unless you have the High Priest level 5 skill, but you can still be in the staff range through Augment.
What's our move?
Alfred cleans up the remaining thief. Boucheron moves up and lights the torch. Alfred's busy with the thief, so I suppose it's a good thing he doesn't have it. Vander has one I bought, but it's not really necessary to buy it. Saline one-shots the thief, getting back in the action. She'd otherwise be out of commission for the rest of the battle.
Grant me strength.
I am your weapon.
I'm still quite capable.
Louis and Etier clean up the last fighter.
It's just a scratch.
Etier can use her new toy to meet the main force, except when she fails at her one job, I have a grand old job. If you are aiming for maximum reliability and minimum time rewinding, it's good to intersperse your accurate attacks throughout your player phase. I have a few accurate attacks before Etier's that I could try to switch around. Chloe takes a pot shot at the axe fighter. He's annoying for us, because our best sword user is over the wall, and our axe users can't hit the broadside of a barn. I suppose Chloe can't either. By chain guarding, Fram lets Chloe counterattack next turn. Vander gets the enemies to come to us. He takes a lot of damage in part from the extra poison stack, but his HP bar is big enough to manage.
I've got you!
That's an unfortunate miss. Alear needs to keep moving forward. I take a second to collect myself and decide what to do. Chloe was intended to help the main group, but she'll now need to clean up for Alear. Etier can clear the way for Chloe with the longbow.
Pretty weak.
We'll have less firepower for the main group, but that's not urgent. Unlike last map, we're back to having some slack built into our plans.
There is nothing to fear.
We want Alear to recharge Marth without the energy tile. Normally, you can attack this axe fighter and dodge him next enemy phase, which easily lets you recharge your meter. Let me show you how that went for me.
Is this... No. Is this... No.
Alright game, guess Yunaka gets the kill instead. This is why you can't plan around experience to within too fine a margin. Sometimes the game just says no. The main group deals with 2 enemies and prevents the others from doing anything too bad. A line formation helps prevent any one unit from being dogpiled and killed, which can often happen with chain attacks or big enemy phases.
This is going to hurt. That was tense.
Saline recharges. I don't like the aesthetics of her just sitting in place, but sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles. These line formations work best when no one crits their attacker. Boucheron lives this, but this is why people don't like low crit chances. Good god, is there something in the water in Elios today? I love cool animation, but man, it makes planning hard. Chloe normally takes the kill that Alir just got, unblocking her and Yunaka. Without the need for that, we can route things differently so Yunaka mends instead of attacking.
If this love is a crime,
There are some hidden enemies. We move units forward while keeping them safe.
Need some help?
This is what I trained for.
Saline as a mystical unit ignores terrain. Even if she weren't using Surge, she'd have good accuracy.
This is nothing.
Louis gets to do one more thing. I feel a little bad for him. Many players would give him Sigurd on this map and let him do a lot more, but he's been relegated to walking the bottom of the map alone.
Serves you right.
Saline gets the kill. We want to give her experience, but in theory you could change that.
I shall.
We assemble to bait the archer and the boss, who's tied to move whenever the archer gets aggroed. They've moved south, from the torch in the upper left where we originally saw them. Yunaka recharges Micaiah, and Alir engages Marth. Now we're on a timer. We want Mercurius to double the boss XP, which means we need to beat him before the meter runs out.
I'll do my best. Emblem Engage. This is it. I live to fight again.
Chloe gets a kill. She's kind of the odd one out because there's only one energy tile up here. If you go slower, Chloe doesn't need to come up here and can help out below.
A right and proper end.
I've already shown you more crystal uses than you probably care to see. I didn't route in a contingency for Boucheron missing, because there's so many available units, but when half of them get one-rounded by the boss, it's a bit trickier than I thought. It takes me a few crystals to figure out my new plan. Dealing with this archer requires us to keep units in range, so we need to know who's getting one-rounded and who isn't. Saline shows a very funny edge case that I know some people have run into. Resonance doesn't activate if you have 1 HP, it won't kill you by itself. It is no problem being the penultimate hit before the finishing blow, however, and Saline will get one shot if she's weakened by using a tome in combat. Resonance applies before any attacks, so you can't even bait the boss. The solution is to not use a tome. Saline's fast enough that even the heavy Levin sword won't make her doubled.
Allow your soul the rest it deserves.
We wall off the boss so the squishy units don't have to run away too far. The boss has 9 speed. In preps, you may want to make sure your units don't get doubled if you can avoid it.
Emblem Engage.
A great sacrifice heals several people up.
By any means necessary.
We manipulate the boss to get out in the open by using Clan as bait. Tyrande sees a kill on him and no one else.
A little late to be saving the...
Stay back.
If you want to try Physical Clan, I'd avoid getting him that level. We apply the standard boss principles, giving the 2 boss kills to Saline and Alir. Boucheron will do 4 damage each chain attack, which really adds up.
Let me help.
Grant me strength. I strike you. I want to help you.
Need some help? I live to serve. Let me help.
Now we have a 3 range attack that can safely chip, even though Etier would get absolutely shredded by Tyrande in a fair fight.
Anything. Let me help.
Our effort sets up a 5-person mend, which means Yunaka's gotten essentially 3 levels and 300 SP in 8 suboptimal turns. Not bad. Alir gets a Mercurius boosted boss kill. She ends up with around 200 SP and 2 levels. Importantly, she hits the 1000 SP benchmark. She'll be the first long-term team member to inherit a skill.
Think this is justice, huh?
That's the last of the bandits. You've been a huge help, Yunaka. If not for you, we'd be scratching our heads in an empty shrine right about now. I can't thank you enough.
It was nothing, really.
I wonder who took it from the shrine in the first place.
It must have been those bandits, right?
Well,
What's the matter?
I have a, confession. The thing is, I didn't find the ring. I stole it.
Huh?
I was strapped for money, and when I saw the shrine, I figured it might have valuables. I went inside, heard Micaiah's voice, and pow! There's the ring, staring right at me. I was just looking to make a quick bundle of dough. I'm sorry.
I see.
When I learned that you two were royalty, I panicked and kinda, well, lied. Really, I'm no different from those bandits. I'll accept whatever punishment you give me.
Hold on. You were planning to sell the ring?
Yeah.
Well then, why didn't you? You could have run for the hills as soon as the Divine Dragon handed it to you. We're useless in the dark. Would have been easy to give us the slip. But instead, you stuck around and risked your neck for us. Why?
Well, because of Micaiah. When she started talking to me, I got this feeling that I just couldn't shake. I felt like I had to help her get to the Divine Dragon.
Yunaka has shown me nothing but kindness. Fighting by her side, I saw a bright path ahead. When I sensed Sombron's return, I called out in the dark. It was she who answered. I am to blame for entangling her in all this. Yunaka has done nothing wrong.
I hear you, but she did lie to us. As Prince, I'm not supposed to let that go without some sort of punishment.
Lay it on me. I can handle it.
How about joining our forces?
Say what now?
We're on a journey to collect the emblem rings and defeat the Fell Dragon. I know it's a lot to ask, but will you pledge yourself to our cause? What do you think, Alfred? A fitting punishment?
I love it. Our army is pretty lean, so adding a new recruit makes a lot of sense. And Yunaka clearly has raw talent. She could be a real asset.
I won't let you down. Thank you. Both of you.
Don't mention it. And Yunaka, allow me to be the first to say. Hiya, Papaya.
Hiya, Papaya, back at ya, Divine One.
With that settled, let's hurry onward. We've got to cross into Brodia, right?
Yes. Mother sent a letter to the Brodian king when we left the castle. He should be expecting us.
Good. The Kingdom of Might. I'm curious to see what it's like there.
We have some furry friends to adopt. While I'm walking, I'll make a suggestion. If you were interested in a scuffed version of Fire Emblem Fate's Branch of Fate option, starting a new campaign without having to replay the intro/tutorial, I recommend keeping a save from this point. With Micaiah, Mercurius, the choice of 3 maps to play next, and a solid core of good units, you have the freedom to train up anyone, even if they've been neglected so far. Up until now, I've recommended assigning emblems like Marth or Sigurd based on what will help us in the short term. Micaiah and, to a lesser extent, Mercurius are different. They let us play favorites. Even if you plan to bench Alfred, Saline, and Chloe, the units I've been giving experience, I still think it's a good idea to play roughly as I have, and only now start funneling experience towards training projects. We have limitless possibilities starting from this point. Well, except changing Alir's gender. Cowards. After this chapter, the Somniel is almost fully unlocked. The next video in the series will be a guide to that Somniel. I'll show my routine between chapters as someone who wants maximum gameplay options and minimum minigames. Bye-bye!
Huh? Is that... Hey!
Huh?
You're the girl I met in Flora Milltown. Vale, wasn't it?
Oh, what a coincidence finding you here.
I'm glad to see you again. You left so abruptly last time. It really caught me off guard. Do you live around here?
No, I'm just passing through. Well, looking for someone, really.
Who are you looking for?
A person I must talk to again no matter what. My sibling.
You were separated then. I'm sorry. It's painful to be apart from one's family. Do you have any idea where to look?
None. I don't even know what face to look for. We've been apart since I was very young, but they did give me something long ago. This.
What a pretty stone.
It's my good luck charm. I know that as long as I have this, we'll be reunited someday.
I'm sure you will. But don't forget to take care of yourself. Look, your leg's wounded.
This kind of thing happens all the time.
It looks pretty deep. There. That ought to hold for a while.
Thank you. You're quite kind to help a complete stranger like me.
You're not a stranger. You saved my life, remember? That makes us friends as far as I'm concerned. And friends help each other.
Friends?
Should I not have said that?
No. I'm just so happy to have someone I can call a friend. It's like a dream. I can't recall the last time I was treated with such kindness.
What do you mean by that?
I'm sorry, but I have to go.
Are you sure?
Thank you for the bandage. Hope to see you again.
There she goes. See you around, Vale.